if you are a genuine prophet, you didn't choose this. You were marked. Before you ever learned how to pray, God was already whispering things to you, whether in your hearing or in your being, things that made no sense to you and things that had no connection or point of reference in your environment. And before you had language for it, you were carrying revelation in your bones. Prophets don't volunteer. We are summoned. We're drafted, interrupted, ruined for ordinary purposes. And one of the things that many prophets will identify about a common thread through your life is that you have always been too aware, too intense, perhaps too sensitive. And that's because prophets and prophetics, you are not built for comfort. You're built for confrontation, not for confrontation's sake, but for the sake of reformation, not to echo the crowd, but to challenge it. And when the world gets louder, the prophet begins to get clearer. When the church gets numb, the prophet becomes more sensitive. And when people stop listening, the prophet still speaks, because obedience matters to prophets more than outcomes. You can't unsee what he shows you. You can't unknow what you discern. You can't unfeel the burden. And you're not broken. You have been marked. You've been burdened. You've been branded. The fire in your mouth is not random. It's an assignment. And you got to learn to steward it, because if you keep trying to run from it, you will burn from the inside out. That's what Jeremiah said. Jeremiah said, I'm not doing this. And then he said, his word became like fire shut up in my bones. Prophets don't just carry words. We carry consequences. And that's why the attacks against you are surgical. That's why the isolation feels so much more isolating. That's why your process doesn't make sense to people with easier callings. But here's your reminder. You are not called to fit in. You're called to uproot, to tear down, to build, and to plant. So cry if you need to, prophets, prophetics, but don't quit. There's a war in your spirit, and there's a weapon that God has put in your mouth.